Hey everybody, Chris Hudson from Polygon Golf. We've already made a bunch of videos about the full corners in the backswing, the full corners in the downswing, and full corners on the left-hand side and all that stuff. It'd be the opposite, for a left-handed player. I'm right-handed, so I explain it right-handed, but the geometry of the Polygon Golf Swing Trainer is so symmetrical that if you're left-handed, it's going to work for you just as much as it is for a right-handed. It's just going to be using the left side of the Polygon Golf Swing Trainer set up for the body, and then also for how the path of the club moves. But right now, we really need to understand how the body has to move in its full totality. So this video may be a little bit longer than some of the rest, but I want to explain it to you in such a way that it's really going to resonate, would be a very good word, inside of your mind so that it'll start to make sense. A lot of people in the golf swing, they teach, get this bump to the right. Now, for better players, that bump is only to about right there. For most amateurs, that bump goes way, way over here and gets you out of position. But anytime you move the body to the right to go to the right, your brain is going, oh my God. So now the brain, once you make this bump to the right because you're going to the right and all these other things start happening, your brain has to calculate things in split seconds. I mean, in split milliseconds. They're almost zeptoseconds. And, if you don't know what that word means, look it up. But in a zeptosecond, your brain is going, oh my God, I got to make all these correctional changes because it doesn't understand if I move to the right, I'm going to turn to the right. The brain has no idea what's going on. It gets in a panic mode. Some people pick up the club. Some people get reverse pivoted. It's just all these crappy, terrible things are going to happen because you went this way when you're trying to go that way. It's not how the brain works. The brain works, if I want to go to the right, I'm going to pressurize the left to go to the right. So anytime I'm doing this, the brain's going, hell yeah, this is a great thing. Now I'm just going to follow those angle changes that Chris said. Look how wonderful this is. Then look at this post. Look at this pressure. I've got pressure in my right foot. I've got pressure in my left. I'm anchored into the ground with both feet. I don't have all this weight over here that I've got to recenter and get this movement and all this stuff. It's nonsense. Because it's not how the brain works. It's not how the brain knows. At a subconscious level, I don't have to think about it. I'm going to turn this way. There I went. Everything went to the left. I'm going to turn to the right. There I go. The brain knows at a subconscious level. So when we can start matching up our golf swing and our body to move the way our subconscious mind perceives how we should move, let me tell you something. Light bulbs start going off all over the place in your golf swing. So let's break this down. The first move I'm going to make, if I had the body cube set up around me right now, you would see, L3, L2, and L1. Then you'd see R1, R2, and R3. There are no horizontal lines, which would be the baseline and the top line when you're inside of the path of the club cube. But right now we're talking about the body cube. So all of a sudden, I'm going to go, there's the first move. And when I am pressuring down at this angle, then you can see how some people might say, oh, well, that's stack and tilt. No, it is not. Okay? It is the first move, but I'm staying inside of my feet. So if I had let's pretend this is a club for a second, and I made that first move, you can see how everything is still pointing at me. So now the second move is going to be, because L2 and R2 are going to be on the sides of us, I've got to get my body to pressure into the L2 guide. And then all of a sudden, I'm going to go to the top, and then the knee is going to move in the direction of the L1 guide, which gets me this turn. Okay? So I am so turned here because look at this position. See this in your mind. Okay, I'm here. Now watch this. Keep this picture in your head. Now watch the way they teach it. Bump to the right, get to the right, recenter. Okay? Doesn't that look awfully familiar to this? versus they're going one movement, incorrect movement, recenter. That move right there is already done by us. There is no, you have to recenter. Because watch what happens when I do it in slow motion. My body is recentering because I'm not staying centered. I'm rotating around my center of mass, moving around it in both directions. Okay? So again, to understand the body movement, how they teach it, you'll see a lot of people right now talking about the step drills in the golf swing. So they go step left, step right, step left, step right, step left, step right, step left, step right, go to the top, move the left first, try to come in, and you're going to get stuck. Your hips are not going to rotate fully. The pressure is going to get all off because when I step right and go right, those changes happen so fast. Why? Because our brain can process information really fast. So if I step here and try to move the club and then move left and come through, that club head is always going to be late. It's always going to be open. Hence the fact that so many people in the world hit a slice and it aggravates them. But it's the reason you're hitting a slice goes more into do with moving your body this way, out of balance, brain panics, first move, and then having to make this recentering move, and then everything turns, the timing's off, club face gets there too late, club face stays open because you're holding on to it, and the ball slices like there's no tomorrow. Just the way it is, it's mathematical fact. But if I move the correct side of my body, and then I start moving the correct side of my body in the downswing, or what people call the downward motion, and then I'm pushing back and coming through, my brain understands that, really understands that, okay? Because how do the pressure shifts work? If we look at the Swing Catalyst software, Swing Catalyst, I think, whatever it's called, the pressure plate thing. They measure horizontal, vertical, and torque. Horizontal and vertical make a 90-degree angle. Makes sense, right? So I'm like, oh, okay, that seems relatively important. So they measure torque with the backward angle of thing going here as I'm pushing off this way to come back. They're measuring this vertical component as a torque with the feet creating this torque into the ground. But most people think, like, I mean, shit, if you said it to me, vertical, I'm thinking, okay, straight up. Horizontal, I'm thinking this way, because that's what they mean. Vertical is up, horizontal is sideways, torque is into the ground. So you got all these people going, okay, I'm going to bump to the right, I'm moving horizontal, measures horizontal forces. Now I'm going to rotate. There should be some torque in my feet, but because I've done this, I really have no concrete anchor or pressure into the ground. So then I'm going to recenter back. Oh, I've got some pressure now. And I'm going to go vertical, which causes me to stand up. The hip gets locked and whatever. Think about that. I mean, logically, if you logically said vertical, horizontal, torque, what summation are you going to come up with? Probably that, okay? But what it really is this rotation by pressure loading into the body, into the feet. Now, when I'm at the top of my swing, I'm trying with everything I've got to lift my toes up off the ground like this. But when I'm at the top, because I have pressurized the ground, because I have moved correctly in the geometry, I can't, that's as much as I can pick my toes up, because I feel like I am rooted into the ground like an oak tree with roots growing out of my feet going into the ground. just the way it is. So then in the downswing, because now I'm going to turn the wheel correctly and I'm going to get there, I've got that pressure on my right foot, but the left foot is pressing back in a zeptosecond. It's not this gradual kind of whatever. It's get that wheel going. Now I feel these forces. Look at that load. Everybody talks about the squat move coming down. So all of a sudden, when I make this load and I'm moving the wheel correctly, look what happens. This move that, George Gankis made pretty famous with a lot of his students, they get to the top and he's like, it's got to be this rotational move like that, okay? And it is. It really is. But when you get here, watch what happens. It's smaller and more compact than what most people realize. You don't have to force that to go, because the only way I can force that to go is getting on the top and going like this. Like, watch what's happening. This. I am going to the left with my left, which is problematic. We've already discussed why it's problematic. But this little movement is smaller than what you think. Because if I use the left side correctly, now I'm going to use the right side correctly. Watch what happens. Boom. Because why? This knee went in. So all of a sudden, when I'm pressurizing the right, there it goes. Now it is over the left foot. So if I press down on this, my leg isn't going to go anywhere because my knee has gotten back over the foot. But if I was here and pressed down on this, somebody could break my knee. Seriously, you could, because it's not balanced in the rooted situation of being over the foot. But when I go to the top and I get there correctly, now I'm going to start I'm not going to do this where I haven't started to turn the wheel. You look at some of the longest hitters in the world, and they are all like this, every single one of them, before they're hitting the ball. They are not like this and getting here where their chest is square to everything, because that's not a powerful thing. They've got to get everything open now. So these turns that happen in real life, even though we're learning how to pressurize the ground, because again, it's hard for you to see at this angle, but my chest is really open here. So if the circle went this way, the circle has to go that way in the opposite direction, but it's being governed by the right side of pressure, and then that zeptosecond happens, pressure comes this way, and I'm pushing off at the same time, and I'll get in perfect balance every single time, because it's just the way that it is. But when you can understand, it's not this left, right, go, dysfunctional to the brain, to the subconscious, but it's pressure, 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 oak tree, I feel like, pressure into that right. And when I'm pressuring into that right, the wheel is going this way, which gives me this sensation that looks like I'm hanging back on my right. But if I was hanging back on my right, I could not pick up my foot. If I was all the way on my left, I couldn't pick up my foot. But all of a sudden I'm here, now I'm gonna take the wheel, R3, R2, R1, and I'm right there. And I mean there. And the quicker I can make this happen, the more these forces and everything pushing back are gonna snap my body and that club through the ball. But in an extremely efficient way that isn't going to allow me to get hurt. Think about this. If I go here, move in a long, and turn the circle into an oblong circle, and then this way, and then stand up and try to turn around that's where people get hurt. Because it's not the way your body is designed to move. So again, I hope you have enjoyed this video that's really teaching us this is the left side for a right-handed player has to move everything to the top with the body. The right side for a right-handed player, because we want to go left, has to make its initial force into the right leg, following with the circle, which opens everything up. I'm open here, where most golfers, they don't even turn yet, or they're not trying to. And then when they turn, they come laterally, or they come over the top, because they're not understanding. If you can look at it this way, everybody thinks, best way to say this, most people think that the golf swing is something that happens from here to here in front of them. Well, and that makes a ton of sense, right? Because our vision is what, 180 degrees, somewhere close to that. You get a blind spot somewhere or whatever. But we're really used to seeing things in front of us. So then you've got some instructors go, oh my God, when you tilt forward and look down, it creates this, uncomfortable feeling. Because we're used to looking up. We're predatory. It's the way we're designed. Our eyes are in front of us. They're not behind us and on the sides of our head. We're predatory human beings so that we can hunt and, go after whatever we want because it's in front of us. So most people only see the swing as something that happens in front of them. But we know with the geometry of the PolygonGolf Swing Trainer, we've got R1, L1, which creates a 90-degree angle. We've got R1, R2, and R3, L1, L2, and L3. So when we understand without, oh my God, we're in this uncomfortable thing because we're looking down, but when our balance is set at a 60-degree relationship to the ground and my body is moving in the way that it's supposed to be moving, my brain does not panic anymore. I don't get anxious. I don't get nervous. I don't get any of these things because I have mathematically set my brain up and my body up in a way, and I'm moving it in a way that coincides with the way my subconscious knows I should move. And then all of a sudden I'm here, and even though it looks to you like I'm going like this, watch what's happening in my knee in super slow motion. As I start coming down this way, my knee gives this little bit of move that way, which is that George Gankis move, but very minimal because the knee is just trying to get back over to the left heel or foot. And then I'm continuing to bring the wheel here. And in real time, what this will do is it'll create this lowering of the thoracic spine from T1 to T12, and it just, boom, and you're right into perfect balance every single time. So I know this video is a little bit long, but I'm really just trying to help you understand it's the left side that governs the backswing, and it is the right side that is the governor for the downswing, because we have to move in the opposite direction before we go in our intended direction. Again, look forward to having you with us. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button. If you have, thank you so much. And if you haven't, you don't want to right now, no big deal. We'll look for you in the future. Make sure you come back because we are truly giving you some of the best information in the world. My name is Christopher Hudson. We'll see you soon.